sir.
Good morning.
Can you tell me a little bit about who Colonel Haynes is? Where were you born? When were you born? Where did you grow up?
Okay, so I was born and raised in Knoxville, Tennessee. Spent my whole childhood there. Grew up. I actually went to school, University of Tennessee. I graduated from there in 1990. So, which may tempt you to call me a redneck, but don't do it. That would be wrong, because technically, I'm a hillbilly. So,
Me too.
Tennessee hillbilly. Born and raised there, and then of course I went into the Air Force right away, and got my first assignment, as we were just discussing. I had my first assignment was in Mather Air Force Base, when it used to exist back in California, near Sacramento. So
How old are you?
I'm 53.
Tell me a little bit about your childhood.
Pretty normal childhood. Grew up with two brothers and a sister, and there in Knoxville, and did the normal things you do as a kid growing up. Played sports and played a lot of football going through high school, and then I went into college from there in ROTC. And
What did you want to do?
oh, that's interesting, because honestly, from about the age of 6, I always knew I wanted to be a pilot in the Air Force.
What drew you to that?
I don't know. I really don't. It was just something that just hit me, and from that point on, it was interesting. Growing up, a lot of people obviously have that time in their, usually around that 18 to 19-year-old phase, where they're trying to figure out what they want to do with their lives, and find their route through life. And I always knew. It was just matter of fact for me that I was going to go into the Air Force and become a pilot. So that's what I wanted to do.
You mentioned high school and college. Can you tell me what kind of a student were you in high school and in college?
Oh, I was a class clown most of the way, going through school. And but I really once I did well enough with my grades, and was able to do some of the advanced classes and things like that. They didn't really have an advanced placement programs like you hear of today so much, but I did a lot of the college level math and things like that. And then when I got into college, I did the standard mathematics and things for engineering and all that kind of stuff. But I ended up getting my degree in political science, because it was University of Tennessee, and I was kind of probably not as, I didn't apply myself as well as I probably could have, but I got through it.
Let's talk about what's number one on your bucket list.
On my bucket list? Oh, I don't know. I don't know that I really have a bucket list. That's a good question. I don't know. That's a good question. I think I'm doing it.
What have you done that
I'm
people
doing
might
it. I mean,
consider a bucket list?
honestly, everything that I have had happen in my life, as far as my career goes, and my meeting my wife, and I mean, I've got the life of Riley. I can't really complain. I'm enjoying it as I go. So I guess when I think of a bucket list, I think of just the next adventure. What's going to be the next adventure? This is the next adventure right now. I'm enjoying it and pressing on. So I kind of take it as it comes, I guess. And as long as I feel like I'm serving and I'm doing good for others and making a positive impact, then I'll keep doing it.
What is your favorite career memory to date?
Favorite career memory? Oh, there's a lot of them. Well, that's not really a career. Meeting my wife is not necessarily a career memory, but it was definitely going to Dias and being a part of right after 9/11, and we went into the deployments for that conflict, and being a part of that, and flying the missions that we flew, at the very beginning. When we went there, so much of what we take for granted today, flying with night vision devices and doing the kind of tactical type of flying. I was a C-130 pilot at the time, and we kind of did that. We were on the leading edge of that, you know. Sometimes we had to make it up as we went along, and at the time it was just a sentiment of, you know, we get the mission done, and so we had to really think on the fly, literally, and so being able to be a part of that and be on the cutting edge of developing a lot of the tactics and the procedures and the things that we do today, that's probably the biggest, fondest memory I have, or one of anyway.
Who are your mentors and why?
Well, one of my biggest mentors and just examples that I really tried to emulate was when I was a brand new pilot, and I was a captain at the time, and one of my first squadrons, my operations officer, a man by the name of Doug Krulin, and then he later went on to become the squadron commander of the squadron in Germany, and hired me to come out there to be one of his pilots, and sent me to safety school and got me down that road. But he was, at the time and to this day, one of, if not the finest officers I ever saw or worked with. He embodied everything that you could ever want to be in a leader. He was the essence of the humble, credible, approachable leader. And so I just always thought that's the kind of person that I want to be like. So he was probably one of my most influential examples, but there are others too. And General Lipinski, worked for him. General Berger was a big influence and a pretty tremendous mentor for me coming through the Pentagon there, and I worked for him, and he really taught me a lot, and just the way he deals with people. He's another one of those people he's very credible, extremely smart, and just kind of almost makes you feel dumb when you're around him. But at the same time, he's humble and very approachable, and he's just got that kind of persona about him. So he's been a big help and a big mentor for me. And General Lipinski, same thing. I worked for him there, and he was very much the same way. So those are three of the big ones.
What are your priorities as a commander?
Well, the way I like to characterize it is, what we're going to do is we're going to take care of the mission, and we're going to take care of our people. And it's been my experience through the years that if you take care of your people, they'll take care of the mission. So that's what we're going to focus on, is making sure that everyone in our wing has the ability and the resources they need to do what they need to do their job and do it effectively, and we'll create an environment where people feel empowered to do what they need to do, and that they're supported. And if they need us or me to call somebody or knock a door down or stand on somebody's desk, then that's what you need to do. But I got your back. So that's what we want to do. And if anybody has a need, whether it's inside or outside of the workforce, or in status or out of status, they know they can call back to us, and we'll be there for them. So you create that kind of environment where people feel empowered and supported and trusted, then they're going to get the mission done. So,
what are your thoughts on diversity and inclusion?
Well, as I said, we want to have a unit, a wing, where we treat each other as brothers and sisters, right? And obviously, if you're going to treat each other as brothers and sisters, that starts with dignity and respect, right? You treat everybody with dignity and respect. The golden rule works like a champ. Treat other people the way you want to be treated. And we also want, as a unit, to have the most effective airmen that we can have and the best airmen that we can have and nurture and build up. And so if you think about that, think about it from a sports team, okay? If you are a football team and you want to have the best quarterback that there is, right? Well, then you certainly don't want to limit yourself in any way as to whom you're going to choose as your quarterback based on anything in an attempt to avoid certain groups of people or anything like that. You want to be as wide open as possible. So same thing. We welcome all comers. And as long as you can be that good airman, that good family member, that good brother or sister, that good wingman, and do your job, then you're going to be completely welcomed and embraced as a family member of this wing. And we welcome that diversity because that's going to make us even stronger.
What can you say about General Brown's priorities of accelerate, change, or lose, and the action orders?
So General Brown and really the entire Department of Defense has made this a priority for all of us. And from a big picture perspective, what we're talking about is a shift in our mindset and in how we do business as a military from what we've been doing for the past 20 plus years in the war against terrorism and all the extremism, all that, to more of a focus on that near peer adversary, okay? Which requires a little bit of a different approach, obviously, than what we've been used to. So we've been used to, essentially dominance in certain environments, in certain domains, air and cyber and space being one of them, some of them. And now we're having to approach that and say, well, that might not necessarily be a given anymore, okay? And all those drive how we're going to train, equip, and operate our force. Now that said, it's important, I think, for us at this wing level to understand that a whole lot of that is really geared toward the enterprise, the leadership, the senior leadership. We're talking about the 4 stars, the 3 stars, and those kind of folks to steer the ship of the whole enterprise of the Air Force in the direction that's going to allow us to better compete against a near peer type adversary, okay? Where it affects us really is the knowledge that we're gonna see some changes in the way we do business. So the way you're perhaps deploying and the way you're perhaps, some of the things that you're perhaps training for right now may change. But fundamentally, at this level, at the wing level, your airmen and your NCOs and your junior officers, and even up to the wing leadership like myself, the big thing is do your job. Do your job the best you can do as you're trained. Be the best airman you can be. All of those other things are going to come, and when they do, you'll be able to adapt to them and then be prepared to adapt as necessary, okay? But the fundamental thing in all of that is do your job.
What would you like Team March members, both military and civilians, to know about you?
Well, the biggest thing is I want them to know that I'm committed to making their jobs as easy and as doable as possible. I want to create an environment here where they feel empowered to accomplish their mission, and that I've got their back, and that we're all going to accomplish this together, and that we're going to be, again, a family of brothers and sisters in arms, devoted to one another and to getting the mission done.
What would you want Team March family members to know about you?
That families are important and a critical piece to our entire operation and our wing here, and that one of the things that we will definitely want to continue to foster is a strong spouse program. My wife, Kendra, she was a major player in the Key Spouse program in my last unit, and she will be here as well. And so we definitely want to make sure that the family bonds are tight with folks that are members of our wing here, and that we're accommodating for them and making things as easy for their families as we can, and taking all that into consideration and being inclusive of that in how we do business.
What do you want civic leaders and community members to know about you?
Well, first, that I truly appreciate all of the support that we get here. I was pretty amazed at how many of the civic and community leaders that came to my to my assumption of command, and so that says a lot. If you're living in an area and you're based in an area where you have that kind of support, it just makes the whole operation so much easier, and it facilitates the family care issues. It just makes everything run so much more smoothly. So I really appreciate all of the support that they've already shown. And the other thing I would say is I look forward to working with all of them in order to strengthen that bond and be great teammates and improve where we can the community around us, and to help move that relationship forward.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Just to say that I'm really happy to be here. I'm really looking forward to this job. It's a big job. There's a lot to do. Obviously, there's challenges every day, and so trying to get my head around all of it. It'll take a little time for me to, get settled in, but really looking forward to it, and I think we're going to do great things.
Thank you, sir. Welcome to Team March.
Thank you. Appreciate it.